Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Joyful Hustle. We are here for another episode, and today I have the amazing Akisha Sharon Jefferson. She is a wife, she's a mother, a pastor, an author, an entrepreneur. Did I leave anything out?
You got it all.
Yeah.
Coach.
Yeah. The job coach.
Yeah.
She's an amazing, she does a lot, as you can tell. Or as I've said. So let's get right into it.
Hello, Keisha. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your yes. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite. I love this.
So today we are going to talk about balancing boldness and authenticity. So as all the things that you are, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into ministry, how you got into business, and then we're going to jump right into some other questions.
Okay. So tell you about me. I'm Akisha. You listed all the titles that I hold. But I am hardworking.
Very.
I am ambitious. I'm loyal. I'm dependable. I don't know. I guess some of those are some of the words that I think of. Creative.
Yes. All those
result driven. I mean, those are some words that describe me.
I love it. So tell us how you got into ministry and how you got into business.
Oh, wow. Ministry, definitely had no plans to go into ministry. Wasn't on my Jumanji board for my life. Literally, I wanted to be an attorney. And I think you've heard me share this story like a million times. I wanted to be an attorney. My mother was like, before we spend all this money on law school, can you make sure that's what you really want to do? And so I worked as a paralegal, and I absolutely hated it. I think
when we met, you were I think you were a paralegal, getting ready to, prepping to go to law school.
Yes, I was. And I just found absolutely no joy in it. And in the midst of all of that, my mother died. And I when I look back over my life, they always say you have like little traces of like your destiny. So I always believed the preacher pastor was there, but I probably just ignored it and didn't really want it. But when my mom died, my misery birthed my ministry.
Wow.
Literally, my heart was completely shattered, and I found no other solace other than my faith. So my ministry was literally birthed out of heart-wrenching pain. And so it's so amazing when people say, oh my gosh, I want to preach like you, I want to pray like you. I'm like, you don't have a clue what you're asking for. Because I learned how to preach in depression. I learned how to preach on the floor, basically preaching to myself to get up, to not be hopeless, to go on and live. So yeah, definitely that's ministry, and business is the same way. I think if I look back over my life, I've always had traces of entrepreneurship. My grandmother they still have a house off of Pennsylvania Avenue, and I remember she would be cleaning the basement, and all my cousins would be running around outside on Branch Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue. And I would say, Mom, can I take these books to the top of the street and sell them and set up a table and sell them? And she's like, girl, go and play. Like, no, you can't sell these books. They're old. And then I just remember being on the bus and the boys were pencil fighting. And they had like the yellow pencils, but they were so small. But my mother was a teacher. And I don't know if you remember the real fat red pencils. She had a closet downstairs in the basement full of supplies. So I would steal the pencils. I repented about this. But I would literally steal the pencils and sell them to the boys on the back of the bus that were pencil fighting. So I have always been Akisha. I have always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And so, yeah, that's who I've always been.
That's crazy. Just thinking about how, like you said, when you look back, there always have been traces.
Always.
Even just attesting to the fact that people say there's purpose birthed out of pain. And you are a living
literally
testimony of what that means.
Literally.
which is amazing.
Literally.
I remember when your mom passed, and it was a hard time for your entire family. And just to watch you all navigate that together and not fall apart, because you know a lot of times when the one person that's there that holds the family together goes away, so does the harmony, everything, and the peace, and all of those other things. But you all held it together, and I feel like it drew you all closer than you were before.
Yeah, I would definitely say God held us together. I mean, I can't give us the credit for that. God held us together, but my mother literally laid the foundation. My mother was about togetherness and love. We look back at the house we grew up in. We had no idea it was small. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. I mean, literally, we had, when we look back now because we're adults, we like, oh, our house is really small. Like, we were living on top of each other in bunk beds and all that other good stuff. But the love that was in our house, you could not, I mean, I just wish I could bottle it up and pass it in the world.
Yeah.
But my mother laid the foundation for us to be strong. She would always say, all you have is each other. Like, all you have, and she would always say, if something happens to me, you all got to stick together. If something happens to me, don't come to the cemetery on holidays because I'm not there, and I don't want you there upset. I'm not there. So when I look back over our lives, she literally laid the foundation, and so she taught us everything. But she didn't teach us how to live without her. So she taught us how to live, but not to live without her. And so you have to keep in mind, my mother was 51.
Right.
So very young. Wasn't sick. I mean, so literally she wasn't sick. Her death was devastating.
Yeah.
And I remember just being so angry with God because I'm looking at people that are disrespectful to their parents. Like your mother called you to do something. You got a million excuses why you can't do it. And we honored our mother.
Right.
My mother was like my best friend. And so I'm just like, out of everybody you could have taken, how in the world did you come up with her?
Right.
I mean, literally, these are conversations that I had to really wrestle with God in my faith. I'm just like, you got to help me, because I'm like, there's some women that wouldn't have been missed. I mean, God for, I'm just being honest.
No,
there's some women on death row that literally, like, you would have freed the world as some taxpayers.
Right.
I'm like, how in the world did you come up with this? So just wrestling with my faith, and God has held us together. He really has.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, it speaks volumes. Just being on the outside looking in, it speaks volumes. So let's talk a little bit about boldness and authenticity. Okay. What does it mean to you to be bold and authentic in today's world, especially as a woman of faith?
It's hard because you are competing with so many different voices and so many different platforms. Everybody who has more than 1,000 followers can be somebody.
Think they're an expert.
Everybody's an expert. And we're growing up in a time where we're living in a time where so many people are monetizing off what they haven't mastered. And so you selling marriage and you ain't even married. You selling parenthood and your kids are a mess. And so for me, to answer your question, to really walk in boldness and authenticity is walking in who you are unapologetically. Without reservation, without hesitation. The world says you should be a size 8, but if you a size 16, I want you to own that. As long as you are healthy, as long as you're not on 15 different medicines, and you're not running up, you can't, you're walking away from walking up steps because you can't get up the steps. Like, it is owning who you are, where you are, unapologetically. Because the world gives you the definition of what beauty is or what success looks like. But you got to be very careful measuring yourself against an illusion, because most of the stuff that you see posted online is not real. So you're looking at things and you're looking at people.
I like reels.
And you're looking at highlighted reels and they aren't real. And that's why I'm so nervous for our generation of children, because they're growing up in a time where they are basing their success and their goals on what they see on social media. No, so you see me now because you're reading my chapter 20,
right?
But you didn't see me when I was in an apartment and had no money,
right?
So you can't judge me right now running 2 successful businesses and a ministry. You should have caught us when we were in Clinton and we had 5 people for First Fridays,
right?
Versus now. So social media shows you a glimpse. It shows you a lot of times the ending product. And so what is happening is you have a whole bunch of people in a generation that's allergic to hard work.
Yeah.
And allergic yes, right, allergic to adversity, allergic to no. And so as soon as they hit adversity or hit trouble, I quit. Because success doesn't look like trouble. Right. Success doesn't look like hard work. Right. No, it does, sis. No, it does. Absolutely. It's a lot of sleepless nights. I remember when I owned my business Maid Pro, when we first opened, everybody would get paid but Robrett and I. Like payday would come on Fridays and we had to make sure our 20 cleaners got paid. Right. On Friday, we were going home with no money. And I'm sitting there, I remember being in the grocery store with like my debit card, like, okay, God, like, please don't let me get embarrassed. Like, the line is long, and I just want to be able to get some milk, some bread, and some eggs for the weekend. Had too much pride to tell anybody I was that broke. Right. So I'm like, I just don't want to be embarrassed. And so I'm like, I'm in line literally praying. So like, you can't, and that's why I'm stuck on that. Like, you have to be careful in judging somebody's chapter 20 if you don't know what chapter 19 through 1 looks like. Right. So to answer your question, to be bold is to automatically, authentically, consistently show up as you without hesitation and without reservation.
Absolutely. I agree. I definitely agree, especially with this generation, because I was talking to one of my clients the other day and I was just like, growing up in the era that we grew up in, I remember literally, we ain't had no cell phones. You left outside. I would clean up at my grandmother's house on the weekend and leave out, or even in the summertime, I would clean up and be done. I'm out the house by 12 o'clock. Nobody has seen me since 12 o'clock. I done gone down the street in the neighborhood where all my cousins is at, and we running around the neighborhood
from sun up to sundown,
literally from house to house, and I'm heading back up the street when the street lights came on. Like,
but that's why so many of the kids are so socially awkward. Yeah. So if you go to an event or you look at them, everybody's playing on their phone because they lack that. Yeah. And so where we literally didn't have an option, you go outside and play. I even look at adults sometimes when we're out at dinner, and I always tell Troy, I'm like, man, y'all are out at dinner. How is everybody on their phone? Like, how are you connecting? Like, I'm always keyed in on that. Like, so it's not even children, even adults. Yeah. I'm like,
I've been guilty of it myself.
Yeah. Before. Yeah. I try to be intentional. Like when Troy comes home from work, if we're sitting at home eating dinner, like I leave my phone. If we're upstairs at the end of the night and we're watching TV, I put my phone on the charger. Like, I really try to be present. I really try to be intentional, because this really is a good and a bad thing. Yeah. And you have so many people now, and not even just kids, but they're just socially awkward. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of adults now. I'm just like, was it COVID? Or you just always was weird? And now, I mean, I've never seen so many adults just so socially awkward. Yeah. Like, can't have a conversation. Literally, so this is the first thing you do to, kind of break the ice. Like, if you don't put that phone down and have a human connection, and that's why your kids are weird. Yeah, that's why they weird.
I'm on my kids about that all the time. Like, you are in the other room. Don't text me. Get up and come in here. It's not that far. Yeah, like, it's not that deep. Whatever it is that you need, call me. If I'm at work, okay, text me. But don't text me from the next room. That irritates myself. Yeah. Okay, so next question. Have you ever felt like there was a time where you had to tone down or change parts of yourself to be accepted? And if so, what did you do to overcome that?
I would absolutely say yes. And and I think if you ask somebody that and they told you no, they're lying.
Right. Agreed.
Absolutely. Because first of all, just as a Black woman, you already know that our very existence is a threat. Mm-hmm. And so you learn very early on how to tone down parts of who you are, just for even corporate America.
Right.
So absolutely. Mm-hmm. But the older I get, the more I understand who I am, whose I am, and that I didn't create me. Mm-hmm. So there is a God that sits so high that when he was creating, putting fish in the water and telling the mountains to go here and the volcanoes to go there, he literally designed my DNA. Mm-hmm. So I am who God has called me to be. So for me to discount, shrink, diminish any part of me is telling God that he doesn't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So I am very intentional in being in spaces and being around people that give me the freedom and the space to be me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to shrink. Right. If I feel like I gotta shrink for a friendship, relationship, business ship, it ain't for me.
Right.
You know? But yeah, early on, absolutely. Yeah.
How did you overcome that?
I just really think understanding who I am and realizing that I didn't make me. I didn't turn over at 5 and decide to be any parts of me. God created me, my personality. Mm-hmm. And so
you feel like to be anything other than who he made you to be is a slap in the face.
It is. Absolutely.
God. Agreed.
Absolutely. It is. It's a direct slap in the face, because God created me. So you and I both have the same name, Keisha, but we have totally different personalities, different aspirations, different things that make us tick.
Right.
That is how God wired us.
Right.
He wired you that way. He wired me this way. So we didn't create ourselves. God did.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. So that's definitely giving me a new way to think of myself.
Like people, I remember a couple years ago I preached in one of my girlfriends, and I mean, I guess she's like a mentor to me. Well, she used to be, but she's relocated now. But I remember I had preached somewhere. She came to see me preach, and she was like, she said, the sermon was so good. She said, but you took your shoes off. And she said, you really got to watch that, because, it may be a turnoff to, somebody. And I said, I take my shoes off because when I preach, I'm so nervous that I was like, people don't understand. I said, most of the time when I preach, I'm so nervous that my legs are and my knees are shaking. So most of the time when I first start off preaching, I do that for my balance. I said, so it has nothing to do with what you think it is.
That's funny, because just to let y'all know, she's not just a pastor, but she's also my pastor. So it, like us on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
As me sitting there watching you preach, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, she getting comfortable. It's finna go down. Never in my mind have I ever thought that you took your shoes off because you were nervous or because your legs were shaking. In my mind, I'm like, she took them shoes off because she finna go in and y'all better get ready. Like, that's just how in my mind, that was the story I told myself.
Yeah.
So if I don't see you without your shoes on, then I'm like, or if I don't see you, without your shoes on, I'm like, okay, this gonna be light today.
Yeah. I'm it doesn't matter where. First Sundays, I've been the pastor for years. It doesn't matter. Every time I stand behind the desk and I have to repeat what the Lord has given me for you, for the house, that's not an easy assignment. And so when I get up, I'm nervous. And so my knees, and I'm shaking. And so the Holy Ghost takes over, and I totally forget about anything, the nerves and all that stuff. But when I start, I'm like, Lord.
Definitely going to see things differently when I see you up there with no shoes on. But
Yeah.
Like I said, the story I told myself in my mind is like, oh, she got them shoes off. It's getting ready to go down. Ready.
Yeah, and I had to tell her, I was like, it has nothing to do with aesthetics, and it has nothing to do with Robert's rules of procedures and order. I'm trying to get my bearings so that I don't fall or trip, or it's all me. And so she was like, oh, okay. So yeah, you really have to know who you are, because I could hear my father growing up, and he's like, everybody has an opinion. So just make sure that their opinion doesn't supersede yours.
Right.
You know, and so even, you know, you got to, it's like eating fish. You got to be able to take what people say and eat what you can eat and spit the bones out.
Yeah.
Because everybody is not healthy enough. Everybody is not called to give you sound advice.
Agreed.
They're just not. And you have to know that. And I hate to say it, and a lot of times it's from the very people that you love.
Yeah. That part. That's the unfortunate part.
Like
that's usually who it is.
Yeah, like you're just like, I hear you, but I don't.
Yeah,
thank you.
Always got something to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how you help others walk in their confidence and true identity.
How do I help others? I would say pretty much I would say, first of all, trying to be an example of walking in my true identity, especially for women, because some things are rather caught than taught. So I would pray that any woman that is in my church or connected to me in some way, I have been able to encourage them to be them. I always am looking for opportunities to empower women, you know, whether that is a word of encouragement or an event or a book, or you know, just something to help to sow those seeds, you know,
and they make the little seeds make a huge difference.
Yes,
especially for some people.
Yes,
you never know what people are going through.
Yeah, and it's so easy for women to lose who they are because you become such and such's wife, you become such and such's mother, you know, and so then you become, you know, Lakeisha who does my nails, or you know, Lakeisha who does my hair,
right?
And so it's very easy for you to lose that. And then so when somebody asks you, who are you, like you asked me at the beginning, it could be easy to say, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher. No, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? And so that really takes honest self-reflection.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're so busy that we avoid self-reflection because it may be a difficult conversation to have with yourself, because you have forgotten that. Like, no, I'm amazing.
Yeah. Like,
I don't say that to toot my own horn. Like, no, I'm amazing. I'm hardworking. I'm dedicated. I'm ambitious. I'm result driven. I'm creative. I am who God says that I am. You know, I may not be a size 2, but I'm beautiful.
Right.
You know, and so I love me. Right. And so I hope you love you too.
Right.
Because when you love yourself, you don't spend a whole lot of time trying to tear down other people. When you love yourself, when you are living on purpose, you are so focused, and you have your vision is so tunnel vision that you're working on what you're working on. I don't have time to critique what you're not doing, or which that's why miserable people who always stand out to me, because I'm like, you miserable, because when you busy and you really working on you and working on the things that God has assigned to your hands, I don't have time to digest and dissect your life
at all.
Like, girl, bye.
Exactly.
I'm busy in real life.
Because I hear you say, who are you, so often, and I don't mean wife, mother, blah, blah, blah. That when somebody asks me that question, now, I no longer say those things.
Yes.
Because of course I'm those things.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows those, you know, I got 6 kids and a husband. Everybody knows those things, but who else am I outside of the wife and the mother? So I think that's very, very important. And like I said, because you say it so much, just in conversation from the pulpit, I hear it repeated when, like, I hear you in my head saying, who are you?
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah, because when
it's not the things that I do.
Yes, because when them kids grow up, when them 6 kids grow up and go to college and get married and move on and have kids, and your sole identity is buried into being their mother, then what happens to you?
Yeah.
If, you know, your husband, God forbid, something happens to him and you were his wife and your whole identity was buried in being his wife, what does that look like for you?
Right.
And so, yes, these are assignments that God has called us to do and called us to be. These are titles that God has given us the authority to be. But that's not necessarily who we all are. It makes me nervous even when I meet preachers and pastors and I'm in Walmart and they're like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, I'm Keisha. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm Bishop so-and-so. And I'm like, okay. I'm Keisha. Like, y'all need to be Bishop. Like, I'm Keisha. I'm Keisha.
Groceries, I go to Walmart. I go wherever I need to go. I'm just,
yes.
I am me.
Yes.
I'm not,
yes.
When you see me, don't call, I mean,
yes.
call me. Pastor shouldn't be the first thing that comes out of your mouth.
So cool with that. I am so cool with that. I'm so cool with that.
A lot of leaders are not.
Because a lot of their identity is buried in their title.
Which is so disheartening to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I just think...
I don't care, because at the end of the day, I mean, and to me, this goes back to a lot of when we have, you know, pastors in these huge churches, these mega churches that do something, and now everybody now we got to cancel them. But at the end of the day, they're a person who sins just like you and I, because people put them on, you know, these pedestals, and sometimes they're putting themselves on it, and so people are following.
Agreed.
Now, when you fall, you done fell from 20 stories instead of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. You should have some level of reverence for your pastor.
I absolutely agree with that.
I think that we have, I think when you are too familiar with your leaders, it breeds dishonor and disrespect. I was just at a church a couple of weeks ago, and I'm all with like playing and being touchable and reachable, but it's a level, because it's like when I think of my mother, like I would play with my mother, but I would play with her to a certain extent, certain level.
Yeah, you knew how far you could go before it became disrespectful.
My mother was still my mother.
Yeah.
So we played, but we didn't play that deep.
Right.
My father, same difference. We might have played every now and again, but it's a level of respect. And I think it's the same thing. And so, like, for instance, I mean, you know my family. I mean, so, you know, just like everybody else's family, everybody ain't saved. Like, and I mean, everybody know that. I'm like, y'all know me. I'm like, but the fact that even when we have big functions and people do whatever they do, they still have a level of respect for me.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so it's like, okay, yeah, I may be here for a lemon drop Friday, but yeah, I'm gonna go to the right because you sitting to the left.
Yeah.
Or even if I'm sitting by you drinking it, I'm not gonna offer you one because I know that
that's not what you do.
Exactly. Right. So I think that it still is important. Now, you don't want to make an idol out of your pastor,
right?
But you should have a level of respect.
No,
you know?
I agree.
And I remember, like, you know, people would do stuff and I wouldn't get invited, and for a while I'd be like, dang, like, why they ain't invite me? And the Lord had to tell me, like, you're different.
Yeah.
You're different. Like, I didn't call you to be like them. You're different. And so now, I mean, you know, I'm just like, okay, cool. Y'all have fun, you know, because I wouldn't probably have gone anyway. Right. Because there's some places that I'm just not going to go. I remember when Troy and I first started dating and we went out to dinner and we walked in and they had like a 2-hour wait. So the hostess said, we got a 2-hour wait, but you can sit at the bar right now. And so Troy was like, okay, great, let's come on. He's like, we can go and sit. And I was like, I don't want to sit at the bar. And he was like, why? I said, because you know I don't drink.
But
I know I don't drink.
Right.
I said, but the saints will come in here and all they see is I'm sitting at the bar.
Yep. Not the fact that you got a glass of water at the bar.
And some chicken tenders.
Sitting at the bar.
At the bar.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't want to make anybody stumble. The Bible says don't let what you do make anybody stumble.
Right.
And so he had never thought of it.
Right.
Because I'm quite sure he ain't never dated nobody like me.
Right.
So he like, okay, all right. I just want to eat. Right? Like, I just want to eat. You know, like, okay, let's leave. So we left. Yeah, I'm like, I can't sit at the bar.
Right.
You know, somebody else can come and sit at the bar, but it doesn't look good.
Right.
It just doesn't look good.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's get a little into your business and ministry.
Okay.
What inspired you to start the Job Coach and Friends and Company Staffing?
Okay. So, you know, I owned a franchise, which was Capitol Hill. And we sold our franchise in and the years could be running together, 2013, 2014, something like that. And so I'm just like, what's next? So one of my brothers, I won't say which one, but I'm quite sure y'all can do the math and figure it out. But he had gotten into some trouble, and he had gone away. He came home, and he was having a really hard time finding a job. And so he was like, you know, if I don't get a job, like, I'm gonna have to go back on the streets because I gotta take care of my son.
Right.
So I'm like, let me help you. So let me see your resume. And I looked at his resume. It was complete trash. I was like, this why ain't nobody calling you. It ain't your record. Like, your resume is trash.
Right.
So helped him do his resume, helped him get a job. And, you know, thank God, I mean, he is literally rocking life out. I mean, he has really, I mean, he is, what God has done in his life, the prayers that God has honored, that my mother has prayed regarding him is just amazing. But to answer your question, that birthed something in me. And so I was like kind of home, you know, trying to figure out like what's next, was getting ready to get married. And I saw this ad, and it was a company looking for somebody that could help find people with disabilities jobs. I mean, at this point, I don't really know what's next for my life. I've sold this business. I'm kind of sitting there like, what's next?
Right.
And so I started working for this company where people had severe disabilities, but they wanted to work. And so they could have been blind. They were in wheelchairs. They were deaf. But doing that work birthed something in me. And so I went from that agency to working at a workforce center in Southeast, working for people, working at a workforce center where folks had been on TANF for like 30 or 40 months. Then I worked at another workforce center working with returning citizens, people that were coming home from prison, you know, who were like my brother, who the world was like, yeah, we're not going to give you a second chance. But you got a felon running the right house. So you got to be really careful in who you throw away and who you say doesn't deserve another opportunity. So it really became more of ministry. And it was like where ministry collided with my passion. And so honestly, to make a long story short, I had, you know, I've always been a hustler, so I've always done stuff on the side.
Right.
But during the pandemic, the very companies that had, that I was reaching out to started reaching out to me. And pretty much was like, hey, we have a problem. We need such and such, but we can't get them because this is shut down. So I started recruiting for one agency told another agency, another agency told another agency, another agency told another agency, and that birthed the Job Coach. And literally, then I started like just basically going after grants for like returning citizens, and then going after grants for just workforce development.
Right.
And the rest is history.
Wow.
And so that birthed the Job Coach, which is the workforce development portion. But then Friends and Staffing is the business where we do staffing,
right?
Temps or permanent for companies all across America. So literally, I mean, I kind of like same way, kind of like bumped into.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep, I never placed the ad for a client for the Job Coach. I've never asked anybody for their business. Literally, people start calling me, and then they will call, then somebody would tell somebody else. Somebody would call me and say, hey, such and such that owns such and such told me to give you a call because you can help us. And I'm like, yeah, I can. And the rest is history.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep.
So how do you lead both spiritually and professionally without compromising your values?
I just did it. So funny you asked that because I just did it today. One of my clients that is with the Job Coach, which is through workforce development, has an interview tomorrow. And I said, praying for you. and we'll be keeping you in prayer tomorrow. She lost her job in April under the current administration, has been out of work, single mother. And I'm like, yeah, you need God's favor tomorrow. Right. And so I want you to know I'm holding you in my prayers and believing God for your success. And so honestly, where I am in my life, I don't have to compromise my ministry and marketplace because I don't have a boss. My boss is God. And so, I, of course, I'm not just out there throwing scripture around, because the greatest scripture, the greatest sermons you will ever preach will be the ones that you live. And so I'm quite sure most of my clients have no idea that I'm a pastor. They'll always say something like, there's something different about you. Or I just had a candidate text me 2 weeks ago and was like, I never really tell anybody this. She was like, but there's just something different about you. And she was like, I just really want to thank you for just the blessing you've been in this process of me looking for work. So no, I don't fly around telling everybody I'm Pastor Reverend Dr. Keisha. Prayerfully, my deeds, my seeds speak for themselves. So I'm me. I'm not turning off me. I might end the email with blessings for your week, blessings for your day. Right. Like, yeah, I'm not turning it off. I'm gonna be me. Right. I agree. And the world needs it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's a bold move that you made in business that changed everything for you?
A bold move that I would say in business that changed everything for me. Say, I got a contract with a client, and the contract did not go well. And I had so much respect for the owner of the company. Instead of just doing the contract and letting it go bad, I basically called her and was like, when you get a chance, give me a call. And so she gave me a call, and I was just like, this isn't going well. Because basically what you want me to accomplish, you really don't have the infrastructure. And so instead of making me look bad and you look bad, like, I'm just going to fall back and, not do this anymore. And she was like, thank you so much for your honesty. She was like, I really appreciate that. And I want to talk to you anyway about something else I'm getting ready to do that I want to pull you in on, which is a bigger contract. And so it wasn't the other thing, but it was this other thing that was much bigger. And so that was bold, for me to be able to, pretty much say, this isn't working. This isn't working for me. It's not working for you. I couldn't pretty much tell her, like, your staff. I was very politically correct. I didn't throw anybody under the bus. I was just saying, this isn't working. My staff is pretty much telling me that this is going bad. And so I'm going to bow out. And so she was like, thank you. And I'm so glad, because I'm getting ready to work on something bigger, and I need you to staff this contract. And it was a big contract.
You had to let go of that little thing in order for something bigger to happen.
Yeah, because it showed her that I have integrity. I have character. Like, I'm not going to just keep doing this for the sake of billing you when it's going bad. This is not working.
And a lot of other people would have just kept going.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm contracted. I'm going to just take this lady's money and go on about my business.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely a bold move. Or even when one of the workforce centers that I was working at during the pandemic, that lost their funding, and they were like, we were letting you go, and I was like, okay, no worries. And so that was a bold move to build the job coach, my workforce development firm, and literally the phone never stopped ringing. It never stopped ringing. I could have gotten another job, but God had to remind me, I didn't call you to be an employee.
Right.
You are an employer. I didn't wire you to be an employee.
Right.
I wired you to be an employer. And so I realized that I had gotten comfortable, because it's one thing when you're single and you're out here being an entrepreneur, if you fail, it just be you sleeping in your car.
Right.
It just be you sleeping in the shelter.
Right.
But at this time, my life had changed. Right. I was married. Tierra was a little girl. And I'm like, yeah, I can't fail. Like, this is not a good look. And so I think I lost the ability to take a risk. you know, when you're young and you really are out here winging it, you're like, okay, if I fail, I fail.
Like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're married now, and that's not a good look.
Yeah, you got other people to consider.
Absolutely.
Some people don't, even after the fact, some people still just be like, you know, whatever.
No, I'm factoring everybody in.
Yes, absolutely. Now, how do you balance confidence and humility in leadership?
Good. How do you balance confidence and humility? I would definitely say I don't want to be, I forgot that scripture. It says something about you know, God humbling you. You know, so basically I always try to stay low. You know, I always try to circle people back to the giver of the gift. You know, because I know that where I am and what I'm doing has absolutely, I may work hard but it all comes from God. And so the fact of the matter is, when I think about who I am, literally I'm a C student. And when I think about how God has used me in spite of me, that always humbles me. That always humbles me. To be a Black woman in America and not have any confidence, you will be walked on. You will be preyed upon. You will be eaten alive. So you have to have some measure of confidence that is balanced with a level of humility.
Agreed.
So you may have this nice house and this fancy degree and this, you know, all of that, but literally God could turn his back and tomorrow it could all crumble. So just the mere fact of just thinking about just nothing you have because of you, of your own might, your own strength, your own education. It may have opened the doors, but it was favor that pushed you in. You know, it may be your degree, but it was God's provision that paid your tuition because you really were poor. You know, so just that always brings me back. Like, it always brings me back. And our generation struggles with humility.
Absolutely.
Like, nobody has humility. Everybody is a boss. Everybody is where they are because of their own might, their own strength. It always makes me nervous because I'm like, if you sing, you could lose your voice tomorrow and never sing again. Like, literally, like, I am where I am because of God. I have what I have because of God. It's not even deep.
Your faith, it sounds like your faith is what keeps you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm nothing. I'm telling you, I'm a C student. I mean, I'm a talker.
Right.
I was the one that represented us when we got in trouble in the house. Like, I was the one. I'm
the family spokesman.
I was the one that had to go and tell my mother and father that this got broke while you were gone. Or we got into a fight and I threw the black fingernail polish at his head and it went on the carpet in the wall. But let me explain to you, I was a talker, but I never have been like an A+ student. So I'm clear that it is nothing but the hand of God. When I look at my life and where I am and the things that God has done, I'm like, yeah, God. I am where I am today because of you. Yeah, I can talk my way out of a plastic bag. I mean, literally.
Not talk your way out of a plastic bag.
I mean, seriously. You know, you meet some people, they just smart.
Yeah.
I mean, you just meet some people, and I mean, they are just bright.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not calling me dumb by a long shot.
What you mean?
But I'm just saying, I understand my strengths.
Yes.
You know, I understand how I'm wired. I understand literally that it is not my might, it is not by my power. It is nothing but the grace, the hand, the favor of God.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What do you do when fear and doubt creep in?
And it could, and I mean, I'm human. I'm like everybody else. Fear and doubt creeps in. I mean, just the time that we live in.
Yeah.
Right now, I think a lot of times I need to get quiet because that recharges me. That refills me. That reminds me, that I need to get quiet and watch what I'm digesting. Digesting in my eyes, digesting in my hearing. Because fear and doubt can only be silenced by faith.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like, okay, what are you reading? What are you reciting? What are you listening to? And then when I get quiet, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I've been listening to too much of the news. Oh, I've been listening too much of, I've been talking to this person too much who love them dearly, but they're just deeply negative.
Right.
And so I'm like, I gotta will it back in and know what fills back up my tank. So what fills your tank may be different than what fills my tank.
Yeah.
After, like yesterday, after I preached, service was powerful. I could have come home and literally sat in silence for like 2 hours because that's how I feel back up.
Right.
So I guess to answer your question, get quiet, so that I can see, I can bring to my remembrance, like, what have I been doing that has allowed these voices to get in?
Like, where is this coming from?
Where's this coming from?
What am I doing that's allowing this to take me over?
Yes. And then I realized real quickly, okay, yeah, I've been watching the news in the morning and the afternoon. I watched it in the gym. Then I got to the gym. I talked to such and such, and she talked for 20 minutes about how messed up the world is. Then I came home, and okay, it makes perfect sense why I'm heavy.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense why fear and doubt has creeped back in. Shutting it all down.
Yep.
Turn on my worship. I mean, literally turn on my worship and listen to some sermons and start reciting the word of God that reminds me who I am, reminds me of the promises of God, reminds me, just reminds my heart to breathe like, yeah, this is fake news.
Yeah.
This is not real.
That's good. That's good. That's real good. What advice would you give to a woman who's afraid to be seen as they truly are?
Do it anyway. Do it scared.
I've heard you say that in my head before too.
Do it anyway. Do it scared. Do it misunderstood. Do it with no support. Do it when nobody understands. Do it when nobody is giving you credit or, telling you you're amazing. Do it anyway. You only get one shot at this.
Yep.
And don't die being used by everybody but God.
Wow.
Everybody has benefited from you but God. Your job, your children, your spouse, your family. Everybody has benefited from you but God. And He created you. So do it anyway. Do it with no money. Do it with a little bit of money. Do it crying. Do it nervous. Do it shaking. But do it anyway.
Yeah. We could actually just end there because, yeah.
Yeah.
That I've heard you saying that in my head a lot too. We got a few more questions and then we're gonna do a quick, fun, rapid fire round. I'm gonna ask you some simple questions. You just whatever first thing is coming to your mind, you're gonna say it.
Okay.
And then we're gonna tell the people where they can find you and we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay, give me one confidence habit that you practice regularly that makes a big difference in your life.
One confidence habit that I practice daily.
Something you do daily that builds your confidence.
Wow. Ooh, dang, I don't know. I mean, look in the mirror and say, "Hey, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful." So maybe that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Good morning, beautiful.
Okay. If you could share one scripture, mantra, or truth that reminds you to walk in boldness and authenticity, what would it be?
I can do all things through Christ that strengthen me. All things. Easy things, hard things. on good days, sunny days, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
That answers actually the first question of the quick fire round questions. Was what was your favorite Bible? Well, is that your favorite Bible verse? Or what would be your favorite Bible verse?
Right. I think your favorite Bible verse changes in seasons.
I agree.
So what my favorite Bible verse may have been last season or last year ain't the same season. Like when you're going through mourning, it may be a verse that directly, speaks to mourning.
Right. Agreed.
But in this season, I would definitely say right now, if I had a favorite Bible verse, it would be the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in the green pastures. Like that right now, the 23rd Psalm is mine, because it reminds me that in the midst of what we're going through, in the midst of furloughs, in the midst of chaos, in the midst of trouble, in the midst of turbulence, the Lord is my shepherd. We could park right there and we could talk for 45 minutes on the job of a shepherd.
Right.
A shepherd makes sure that the sheep are protected. A shepherd makes sure that the sheep eat. The shepherd makes sure that the sheep don't walk off the ledge and fall over the cliff. The Lord is my shepherd. It's personal. Not your shepherd, not the Democrat shepherd, not the Republican shepherd, not your kid. The Lord is my shepherd. Oh, that's so personal.
Yeah.
That's where I am in this season. I shall not want. It doesn't matter that there's a furlough. It doesn't matter that eggs are $10 a dozen. It doesn't matter that groceries are through the roof. I shall not want.
For nothing.
For nothing. Because the Lord is my shepherd.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, the sheep don't know where they're going to eat. They don't know what they're going to eat.
Yeah.
They don't know what time they're going to eat.
Yeah. It's a lot of people going through that, especially right now with these furloughs.
Yes.
People not knowing
where the next check is coming from. And you got kids to feed and bills to pay. Yeah. Like you all are playing games with people's real lives. Real lives.
Yeah. It's a mess. But okay, give me one thing you learned about yourself this year.
One thing I learned about myself this year, I'm definitely resilient.
You learned that about yourself just this year?
I owned it this year.
Okay.
That I would say definitely because resilient.
That's a word that I would use to describe you if somebody asked me.
But you don't ask yourself those kind of questions. So I just say I own that. Yeah. Resilient.
Yeah. That's good. What's your go-to worship song when you need a reminder of your strength?
Wow. Right now in this season, my go-to worship song is, I forgot the name of it, but I think it's by Maverick City. And it says, the rain came, the wind blew, but I built my hope is built in you. And I don't know the name of the song, either. But that's like my favorite worship song right now.
Yeah.
The rain came, the wind blew, but my hope is built in you.
Okay, give me a bold move that you're proud of making recently.
A bold move that I am proud that I made recently. Well, I would say a bold move that I've recently made, because it's this year, would be the Wealth Summit. The Wealth Summit.
That was amazing. I forgot all about. I didn't forget about it, but that was top tier.
Thank you.
That was top tier.
I would definitely say the Wealth Summit. Literally pulling that together in 3 months, because the Lord gave that to me in before Christmas, and we had it in February.
I don't know how you did that in 3 months.
Yeah,
because it definitely gave something that had been had been in the works for at least a year. It was well put together.
Thank you.
Everything was on time. The speakers were amazing. The knowledge was great.
Yep.
Are we doing it again this year?
I don't know about this year, but we definitely are going to do another one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do another one. But yeah, I would definitely say a bold move was the Wealth Summit. Pulling that together in 3 months and just trying to give our people the financial tools to make better financial decisions.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I still get and read Dr. Bryce text.
Yes,
me too. Those Dr. Boyce.
Yeah, Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
That was good.
Yeah,
he was good. And the what was the real estate guy's name?
Ron, the real estate guy. Oh,
is it
Marcel?
Yes,
Marcel was amazing.
Yes. I still get texts from him and Dr.
Yes, Marcel was amazing. Both of them. Yep,
that was good.
Thank you.
That was very good. Very well put together.
Thank you.
Well, that's it.
Oh, well, this was great. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came.
Yes.
Thank you for your yes. Give us some final words of encouragement for the women out there who are walking in or trying to walk in their calling. And then tell the people where they can find you.
Okay, cool. I would say what we just talked about. Do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Do it scared. Do it unsupported. Do it nervous. Do it. I think this season, just with all of the uncertainty and instability that we are surrounded with,
mm-hmm.
I just believe that God is trying to get our attention,
mm-hmm.
Not just as a community, but individually. And I would just say, what has God put in you that somebody is willing to pay for? Like, you are sitting on money,
mm-hmm.
but you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
You're waiting for somebody to give you a pat on the back and tell you it's okay, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm telling you it's time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that the seasons are telling you that it's time.
Yeah.
And so you are literally sitting, there's a account room full of money with your name on it, but you can't withdraw what's in it because you're stuck.
And you won't move.
The access fee is you moving your feet. The access code is you moving your feet. So I would say do it anyway. That's what I would say in closing. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. What's my name? I think it's Akisha Jefferson on Instagram. Facebook, my name, Akisha Jefferson. You want to follow the church? We're on Facebook and Instagram. It's First Sundays. You can check us out. Would love to have you for a service. Would love to see you. Every first Sunday. And a lot of y'all ain't going to church, and y'all ain't going to church every Sunday. I know y'all ain't going to church every Sunday because I see y'all at brunch. And so I love first Sundays, and everybody's like, God is God called you to do something different? Or God called you to meet every Sunday? No, God has called us to do what we're doing. We are called to be supplemental insurance for the kingdom, because half of y'all ain't going to church every Sunday anyway. So you can come to church the first Sunday of the month, get your word, get your worship, have your communion, and you want to be covered. And that's the thing about our generation. Nobody wants a pastor until they need a pastor. And so you want to be covered. You want to be connected to a body of believers that in this world you can be connected to. So we would love to have you.
Yes, come on out. Join us.
Would love to have you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, this was great.
Thank
amazing.
you.
I am looking forward to the people hearing this.
Yes.
And seeing it.
Yes.
And thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, guys. Until next week. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you for having me. Some of that stuff you don't even think about.